Hey everyone, my guest today is Kelly Kristin. Kelly is a psychic medium, psychic detective, and investigator with a lifelong love of inquiry and evidence, fascinated by how people form beliefs, test what's true, and decide what actually matters. After more than 30 years as a teacher, she learned that real magic isn't the answer, it's the questions that crack the case open. Through her curated classes, events, and gatherings, she connects curious people, fuels better conversations, and builds a community for those who love to look closer. Welcome to the show, Kelly. I want to thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. I'm really excited to talk to you. I- Would you be able to tell the audience about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so I am your, everyday psychic medium, but my lane is psychic investigation. So, I think each of us picks something, trance mediumship or, tarot or something like this, but mine is psychic investigation. So I actually work with families and law enforcement on missing persons cases or, suspicious death or things like this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a particular case that sticks with you?
Oh,
I'm sure there's plenty, but
that's a really hard question. Because once I get focused on something, like that is my focus for a long time. Like I try not to really switch off a case too
Mhm.
much, right? And there are
Right.
some that really bug me, but I know they bug everybody else, like the John Benet Ramsey
Yeah.
case. I mean, ah, or what's the Missy Beavers case in Texas? I don't know if you know that one, but
Yeah.
there's
A
just
little bit.
there's just so many theories, and you wish they could just be solved, and you had the answer for those. Some personal cases that other people wouldn't know that really
Mhm.
bug me that are kind of close to home. So there's so many that
Yeah.
that can stay with you for many different reasons. And I think that's actually one of the reasons why certain cases will hit me harder because there's
Mm.
some kind of commonality between myself and the victim, or I've been through something that they've been through. And so you really, sometimes you get more information on those cases than you do other cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of cases that, like, I only heard about through listening to crime podcasts, and I
Mhm.
can't talk today. And, it's almost like I wonder if they don't get as much attention because there's not as much evidence. A lot of these, it just seems like people just disappear off the face of the earth.
Yeah, exactly. I mentioned that I just moved to Washington State, and
Mhm.
I'm finding like so many cases here that I've never heard about. That were
Really?
some are that actually big that I never knew, and then some that you wonder why this case didn't get more time. And I think it
Yeah.
kind of has to do with the family and how much they're pushing to have it out there in the public.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah,
Yeah. Do you think that pushing it in the public, I could see where it would help, but also where it would hurt?
yeah, yeah. Um, both ways, right? Like
Yeah.
hurt. Well, for me, when I'm working, too much information is not good for me when I
Yeah.
start because I don't want to know everything. So sometimes I feel like when if the media gets a hold of it or something, the story
Mhm.
can be twisted. Um, Facts can be left out, or too many facts can be given. That can hurt, I think. Sometimes it just hurts the family because they're, like all of us, not willing to take the answer,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Eh,
Would you be able to walk us through, like, a typical case that you would be working on, how it all starts and your process going through it?
Sure. So different ways. I do teach psychic investigation as a class, as a mentorship. So sometimes I'll get my cases through people that way, but I also have it on my website. So a lot of people contact me on my website. and then I'll
Okay.
do an interview with that person, to see if the case is right for me or to see if I can help. Uh,
Okay.
After that, I call it like an intake. There's different reasons why the case won't work. Sometimes I feel like I can't help, or I don't have the connection, or I don't know, maybe don't know the area well enough or something like this. It's
Yeah.
different cases, different things. But
Yeah.
when I do take the case, then I also don't want to know too much information. I like
Okay.
to work kind of blind first. So I would ask just for the name, maybe the city, the last time seen, or the time of death,
Mhm.
and what their objective is. Do you want to find out what really happened? Is a person missing? Where are they? And then I kind of go from there, and I
Yeah.
will work on my own, and and that's just like fast and furious. Information comes in, I write everything down, even really crazy stuff that doesn't seem to make sense, and
Yeah.
then I'll go back through it again.
Mhm.
It takes a process, right? Go back through it again and see if anything kind of matches up. And a lot of times I'll have stuff from the first time and the second time that I'm like, I don't remember writing that the first time, but I wrote it
Oh,
the second time. So, ooh, that's kind of cool. What does that mean?
yeah.
So, sometimes I am not a spirit artist, but I'll draw something or I'll write numbers, and I just never know what they're for. A lot of
Mhm.
times when I start, and then as I start working on the case, then it kind of makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
After I do that, I also have a team that I work with. We've been meeting together for, I mean, years now, and there's 11 of us, and so I will usually take my case to them, and we do the same
Okay.
thing. I just give them the same details, a picture, a name, last time seen or time of death and location, and then they work on it, and then we all meet together and kinda talk about, what things we have in common. Or
Yeah.
somebody might say something, and one of us will be like, "Oh, yeah, that totally feels right." Um,
Right.
we have someone that's a spirit artist, so she does all the artwork. Um, that's her specialty.
Mhm.
Each of us has kinda different things that we do, but some of us have things that, are the same.
Yeah.
Like for me, I dream a lot. I'll have a lot of
Okay.
dreams. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Um, and so it's a process. It takes time. So I will either take it to the team, and if we do, that could take, a couple weeks, or if I just keep it on my caseload, then same thing. It just depends on, it's like kind of something you can't force. You can't just
Right.
be like, okay, just tell me the answer now, give me the
Yeah.
signs. So you never know how long it's going to take, but once you start working on it, it's hard to get off of that. Yeah.
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 That makes sense.
Yeah.
I've had interesting dreams before where I'm like, "This had to be real." Like,
Right?
just with, people that have passed away, just conversations and stuff.
Yeah.
But, um, okay, so do you go and, like, visit certain places and try to just catch a vibe from that, or what
Yeah,
all you
that's
do?
that's actually like my, I guess, dream, because
Mhm.
when I lived in California, I really didn't. I actually
Okay.
don't think I even got that many cases from California. So now that I moved to Washington, I'm trying to put cases together and find places that I can actually go on site.
Yeah.
I just taught a mentorship in a little town called Port Gamble. And I was telling the students in that class, I'm like, gosh, I wish so badly that I had one where I had boots on the ground, where I could just, get in there and actually feel things out.
Right.
And then on the way home, I got a text message, and somebody wanted me to come and, work in that city, but darn it if it wasn't the city that I just came from.
Oh.
So but it did really help because I knew the area, and the
Yeah.
person would, send me pictures, and I knew exactly where that was, and that part really did help. So as I kinda, build my business from here, I that's my plan. to go
Mhm.
on location and because I know it's gotta be so much more powerful than online, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's, through our communications before today, I'd mentioned, the Jody Huisentruit is the case that kind of I really want solved, and I used to, like, go to school for, 2 semesters in Mason City where she went missing from,
Oh.
and I think I've driven by the apartments, but it's been so long that I just wanna go there and just I don't think I'll pick up anything else that anyone else has found, but it just to see it and kinda, I don't know, see what it feels like there, you
Mhm.
know? So
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing as, like, if you go to a historic place that has memories or history, right? You walk
Mhm.
in maybe to a museum or something, you're like, "Whoa, this feels different. This kinda hits me different." I
Yeah,
think the same thing on location, for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. So did you have any thoughts on the Jody Huisentruit
Yeah,
case?
yeah, I don't really remember this case, but it's super
Huh.
interesting because I think I was also 27 in 1994, 95. So
Yeah.
this is a case like I would talk about where I would have some interest in it because she would have been about my same age,
Right,
right?
right.
I know that time back then, back in the 90s. Um, I don't know that we had any other similarities, but just kind of tapping into her, I'm like, oh, this is a really girl that has a lot of energy, and you could get a lot of vibes from her.
Mhm.
Um, so I tried not to look at anything
Yeah,
and look and go into it, but, it takes a long time. So what I did get is
right.
I really felt I took notes, um, and I did look after, like, I looked at some of the information, but I
Mhm.
really felt like this is somebody that, of course, was stalking her. I think that is a theory.
Yeah.
But I see him, like, being really upset that she wasn't on time that day, like, that she was late, and I feel like he either lived close, but I'm not sure if he lived close or he was spending the night or if he would drive because I feel like he didn't live there. I feel like he lived out of town.
Oh,
But
okay.
but I feel like there was something about maybe I don't know if he was actually, like, renting a place by there or just staying somewhere, like, on the street or something. That was just a
Yeah.
feeling I got, and it feels very much like this is someone, who would probably have done this again, or had done things leading up to this. I do feel like he would tell people that he knows her and
Yeah.
say, "Oh, I'm her friend," or "I know her," when maybe he really doesn't, or, he's met her once or twice, something like that. I
Mhm.
feel like he would involve himself in the scene. Uh,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I I do feel like she knows or was acquainted with this person, knew who they were, and I feel like he would be someone that would look, I mean, normal, right? Like
Okay.
he wouldn't set off any alarms
Mhm.
except looking wise, but if you got to know him, you'd think this is kind of odd about things he does,
Yeah.
but you might be, excuse it. Like, oh, well, maybe he's just different.
Right.
Or, oh, he said that. That's kind of creepy, but I know he didn't mean it that way. You know,
Huh.
I I think, let's see, I felt like um I did write down friend's husband, but I don't really know what that has to do with anything. Um, I did see that
Oh,
she spoke to a friend's husband, I think, uh,
yeah.
uh, like the last phone call. And when I heard that on the like documentary, I felt like that hit me a certain way. But I'm not
Mm.
saying that friend's husband did anything. I mean, I'm not saying that. It just
Right.
felt weird.
Yeah.
Um, let's
Yeah.
see. Yeah, I
Yeah,
said
that
he
was I feel like that was something that was kinda new that I had just learned recently
oh,
was that phone call, but, like, I I hadn't watched every documentary,
mhm.
for a while, and then I don't know which one that one was, but I remember thinking, "Oh, I haven't heard that before," but yeah, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, she was so cute, so ambitious, right? I mean, she's like somebody that if you're not maybe well,
Mhm.
that you'd want that to be your girlfriend because she's so cute and so bubbly. She knows everybody, has a great personality, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of the person that was attracted to her, the person that would actually, like, probably even almost say that was his girlfriend kind of a thing to other
Right.
people. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah. Uh,
Um, I thought he was youngish. I put, like, 25 to 32-ish.
Uh-huh.
Brown hair, I put green or hazel eyes. Um, I put works the night shift, but I wasn't sure if he was just up at night or if he worked the night shift.
Really?
I put like a more kinda round face, but but also thin, like, almost like a squarish jaw.
Uh-huh.
And I wrote his mom suspects that he did it, which is
Oh.
weird.
Yeah.
Um, I put he lives out of town and will also probably do this to other women as well, or has done other things
Yeah.
that sort of like this. Yeah.
Okay.
And I just wrote down some other numbers, and that's about as far as I got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go through everything and kind of revisit it and so,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, what did you think about the JonBenet Ramsey case?
Oh, man. I literally go back and forth on that thing,
Yeah.
um, because for me, I always say it's kind of polluted because, uh, you hear this documentary and then you're like, "Oh, yeah, for sure it was the dad."
Mhm.
You hear this one, "Yep, it was the dad and the mom," and then you're like, "Oh, no, it was somebody completely different." I almost feel like I would have to sit with it a lot longer than I have because I feel like I have
Yeah.
so many outside things coming in that I have to separate that from what I really feel or what I'm picking up.
Yeah.
That makes
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much, shady stuff involved in it that it's just yeah, I've never really been able to decide. For a while, I'm like, "Oh, it had to have been her brother based off of certain things," but then it's
Mhm.
like, I don't know, then they find a picture of Jeffrey Epstein with what looks like her on his shoulders and pictures of Ghislaine Maxwell at pageants, and I'm like, "I'm never gonna figure this out."
Right.
It's just, ugh, crazy.
Yeah, that's a
So,
hard one.
yeah.
I did when I had one of my mentorships, I had a forensic handwriting specialist
Uh-huh.
come on, and she did compare Patsy's handwriting to the letter, to the note,
Mhm.
and she felt I'm trying to remember now. I think she felt it was not her handwriting.
Okay.
Was or was? I can't remember which way it was. I shouldn't have said
Yeah,
anything, but
it's okay.
I think she said it was not. So that's kinda
Okay.
interesting, and I know a lot of the forensic handwriting specialists, if you listen to any of their, you know, findings, they all have different findings pretty much. You'll find
Yeah.
someone that says, "Yep, all the loops match," or, "Nope,
Right.
that's not hers." So, it's hard.
Yeah. Okay, so what does it feel like when you get a hit?
Hmm. Well, for me, I always felt like in my stomach, like, people will say you have a gut feeling.
Mhm.
So that's one
Yeah.
way that I pick up things, like when I heard the, friend's husband was on the
Uh-huh.
phone or whatever, like, that, like, hit me, like, in the stomach. I'm like, "Well, that's interesting. It may not mean anything, but why did it hit me that way?" And then I would
Yeah.
kinda research that more. Sometimes, like, I'll just know something, and it just
Mhm.
kind of pops in my head. I'm like, "Oh." And same thing, like, when I'm doing mediumship readings, like, when spirit will tell me something, I often will it's not very professional probably, but I often will be like, "Oh, well, that's so interesting," you know? Kinda like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get information and I'll think, "Oh, it's not something that I'm thinking," I'm getting that information from somewhere else, so that's kinda cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that is. How do you I guess well, I mean, that almost kind of explains it where you determine it wasn't, if it's just something that you weren't even thinking and it pops into your head, you kinda know, "Okay, that wasn't something that somebody else influenced me to think." But how do you sort out kind of what's real and what's not, I guess?
It it's not easy unless you, like, get a super big hit, like, you're super adamant, "Yes, I know that is a fact for me, that's a
Mhm.
fact." Otherwise, you have to kind of keep looking at it. Sometimes it can be symbolic, sometimes it's literal. That's really hard. Sometimes when we're in the group I was talking about, if we several
Mhm.
of us are getting the same thing, then we'll consider that good evidence. It is pretty difficult. I have to sit for a long time by myself to filter out what I know is my information and what I already know
Yeah.
already, and being able to decide if this is good information.
Right. Right. And so, do you get a lot of like missing people or just deaths where you're trying to figure out, um, I guess, how it occurred or how it happened, or what is your typical case like?
Yeah. It's actually like probably half and half. A lot of times it'll be
Okay.
a missing person,
Hmm.
and sometimes it'll be a case from a long time ago. Sometimes it'll be a case that's more current. Those, of course, I work on more quickly because it is urgent. A lot of times we'll get people who have memory loss issues from dementia or whatever. And I'm going to tell you, those are like the hardest ones to find. Because when
Yeah.
you like tap into that person, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like you'd be like kind of tapping into someone with a coma, I guess, something like this, where I'm not getting the right information, or I'm not thinking clearly. This person's not thinking clearly. So I can't really like, take myself there and see where I am. And then
Yeah.
the other thing is, I don't know where all these people go. You know,
Right.
I've done research on it, and they say a lot of them uh, go out and die from exposure, or they fall in water, something like this. But those are probably the hardest cases. I
Yeah.
do get a lot of uh, murders, and families will be, at the last resort, the law enforcement has done all they can do, and
Hmm.
so that's when they'll reach out. I did just work on a case like that, and I am kind of still working on it. The family reached out again, and so and I have permission to speak about that case, and it's actually the only one I do. I like to keep everything confidential, of
Yeah.
course, but this case was a missing brother that
Okay.
went missing this year in on Valentine's Day, and had not been heard from, and I think I got this case in May. So,
Yeah.
we were able to work on
Okay.
it, and, I did this is one that I did take to the team, and we actually, with the help of the brother, found him.
Oh.
So some of the clues that we got, he this is the one where it was on location, right? And he would go to where we told him,
Uh-huh.
and one of the places, and we worked with them for a couple weeks, maybe a month, and then one of the places he kept going back to, he kept being drawn there,
Yeah.
and so he had law enforcement come out, and they finally found him. But
Really.
they'd looked there many times, not many maybe, but it was a kind of a weird situation. He was most of the time unhoused, and this was in a canal tunnel,
Okay.
and so they had to send drones in to find him.
Okay. Was he alive?
No,
No. Okay.
he has
Oh,
passed. Yeah,
that's too
I
bad.
know. It's horrible.
But at least you found him, and that gives the family some closure. I mean, that's
Yeah, and now
wow.
the goal is to see if he how he passed, you know?
Okay.
Did somebody
Yeah.
have something to do with this, or was it, something else?
Okay.
Exposure, was he sick?
Yeah. So the cause of death is undetermined right now?
Yeah, right now,
Oh,
they're still waiting for the toxicology report,
yeah.
and there
Wow.
was it's a long time to be, uh, not found, right? So,
And in a
kinda
canal,
yeah, kinda difficult.
yeah. So that's one thing you kinda jogged my memory on something that happened here. A woman with dementia, or Alzheimer's wandered off, and what I'm learning is I don't think it's as easy to recognize a dead body as people
Oh.
expect it to be,
Mhm.
like, after decomposition, it might not look the way you're expecting it to be because she was in the field behind her house, and there were huge search efforts, and, yeah, they think she just died of exposure. That was in the heat of the summer, and then
Mhm.
she wasn't found until, harvest, so it was.
Yeah, and if you that's a good point because if you look at cases like that, I didn't realize, but depending on, uh, the heat, right?
Mhm.
Everything, humidity, uh, sound kinda bad, but, flesh can
Yeah,
deteriorate over a week, and it could be
yeah,
skeletal, which is crazy, right? Whereas
right,
the gentleman we just found had been partially, submerged in water, so I think that and dark, and it's in a colder, atmosphere, and
mhm,
so he wasn't as he was in better
okay,
condition, but you're
yeah,
absolutely right. Sometimes, we'll say you're pretty much just looking for clothes
mhm,
or, you know, the skeleton.
yeah, yeah, it's just interesting because when, my my sister worked with the grandson, and he was like, "Oh, she was probably 4 foot from where I was standing," and
Yeah.
just didn't see her, but, yeah, huge search effort and couldn't find
Mm,
her, but, um, yeah, that is I can't imagine how hard it would be to try and track like, get a reading from somebody with cognitive decline. It just
yeah.
but
It's yeah, that is one of the trickier things. And some people are better at it. I that is just like I continue learning how
mhm,
I like to what I can do better to get information. And
yeah,
that's one of my areas like, "Oh, I would just wanna, get better at that because you get a lot
yeah.
of cases.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to tell you about my sponsors quick. Sometimes I get on a roll cleaning or gardening, and I need a boost but don't have time for a meal. Big Fork Brand's pork jerky is the perfect choice to keep my momentum, offering high protein snacks for on the go energy boosts. Not only do they offer pork jerky, but they also make pork sticks, bacon sausage, bacon hot dogs, and burger and hot dog sauces. Products come in a variety of delicious flavors, including Thai green curry and maple and brown sugar for the meat options, and gangster and Chicago fire for the sauces. I personally think the original flavor of the pork jerky hits just right after tackling a big chore. It's a little salty and very flavorful. My discount code gives you 20% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit bigforkbrands.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Are you looking for a gift for a music lover, or maybe some apparel to show off your quirky side? Old Glory has you covered. With over 300,000 officially licensed items covering music, sports, entertainment, and pop culture, you're guaranteed to find the perfect item. They even have seasonal gear. My husband enjoys the Beatles and Led Zeppelin apparel, and I love the Billy Idol apparel. I even found items for my fellow plant enthusiasts. This family owned superstore is known for their quality and customer service, offers free standard shipping on all orders, and orders are shipped the same day you purchase. My discount code gives you 15% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit oldglory.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Looking for a game-changing way to improve your health? Zevo Life is the world's most nutrient-dense whole plant, packed with over 50% plant protein, essential amino acids, fiber, and antioxidants. Harnessing the best nature has to offer, Zevo Life nourishes your body while driving your performance, vitality, and overall well-being. Each serving is a concentrated source of clean, well-balanced nutrition designed to support modern lifestyles, and just 1 teaspoon a day supports your gut, boosts energy, and promotes healthier skin and hair. It's no wonder that it's receiving rave 5-star reviews. Step into a healthier future with a 30% discount and a 30-day risk-free guarantee by visiting zivo.life and using my promo code. To support my show and to receive 30% off your entire order, enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. How do you kind of hone in your ability or work on it, I guess? Is it practice makes perfect or
It really is. It's like kinda like, if you were gonna play the piano, right? You don't just sit down and play Mozart.
Mhm.
You have to start with something like chopsticks, and you're like, "Okay, I'm good at chopsticks. Now I can try something else," and you keep practicing till you get it right. And I do still take classes. I mentored with I don't know if you know who Tony Stockwell is. He's
Mm-mm.
in the UK. He's a fabulous medium, but he also had a lot of psychic detection shows there.
Okay.
And he has a lot of different ways of thinking. So, I teach it, but when I teach it, uh, I know the answers, because I'm trying to teach to other people, but I like it when I'm challenged and someone's trying to help me get better what I need to get better at.
Okay.
So I mean, and then at the same time, sometimes you feel like you're really good at stuff. It's kinda
Yeah.
weird. And some people don't have to practice as much in certain areas. Like, the spirit art might come to you and you might be amazing at it without any
Mhm.
practice. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not me either, but
Yeah. That's really interesting that you can work with a team that kinda has different abilities too to bounce things off of
Mhm.
and, um and yeah, just ensure you that the ideas that you have, they felt the same way.
Yeah.
Um, we there's a woman that, my mom is friends with that I've seen a few times, and she does angel readings.
Mhm.
Do you know anything about those? Or
Does she just do, like, the angels around you, or
it's like, um,
does she do angel babies?
she she says it's like angels helping her communicate with
Mm,
people who have passed, and I've done a couple readings with her, and it's insane how accurate it can be with, like, just the character of the person. Like, she said certain things that my grandparents had said that I was like, that's not something you can just research online."
right.
So it's
Mhm.
do you ever get messages like that where it's directly from someone who's passed?
Well, for sure in my mediumship, readings, I mean, like, I would like to think that I work with angels as well, but I don't maybe call on them like the lady you were just talking about. I
Uh-huh.
might ask them to come support, but
Yeah.
um, if they tell me something, they do. But usually it's I'm communicating with the person in spirit.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. Have you ever had someone who, like, just wanted to be found or wanted you to know something so bad that it was like they were just very present and almost in your face about it?
Yeah, for sure. I think that is the trick.
Mhm.
I wish the missing people would just say, "Hey, I'm right here. Go to this, place, and that's where I am." I don't know why that never happens, but sometimes it does. I can remember like a dream that I had. A little girl, not little girl, but a teenage girl was missing, and I
Uh-huh.
had a dream that she was in the closet at her boyfriend's house hiding. And like
Oh,
when the mom would go to work, she would come out. And it turned
okay.
out she was there. I don't know if she was hiding in the closet, but she was at that house. So that, like, was really, like, strong evidence for me. But
Uh-huh.
then I'll have people, like, sometimes in spirit that have a message, and they will kind of be bold, they'll get in your face, or they, really wanna tell you what they need their person to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so
So
interesting to just to think about. Um, so how do you avoid, I guess, creating a false certainty
mhm.
or, because I imagine you don't want to tell people the wrong thing. So how do you kinda walk that line?
For sure. Um, it's really hard, so I do, tell them in advance that I am not promising anything,
Mhm.
that I this is the information I get, I'm gonna give it to you as I get it, it may or may not mean anything to you. Um, you may not wish to take it, and there does come a time when you have to sometimes say, "I can no longer help you,"
Mhm.
because sometimes a person's not willing to take the information. That happens a lot on a lot of cases where the person has, passed by their own hands. And of
Okay.
course, you can see that, right? But boundary-wise and ethically, you have to say, I am really sorry, but I've done everything I can.
Mhm.
This is my finding, this is my answer.
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered your question or not.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, that I never even thought about that. If you would have to tell family, like, "Sorry, there wasn't anyone else involved. They did
Mhm.
it on their own," and that I'm sure that it would be hard for a family to take that.
It's
That
very
that makes
hard, and it's one of the things that I like to teach are the ethics. Uh, I was a former teacher for 30 years, and I taught in juvenile hall a lot. So I trained in a lot of these hard topics like,
Okay.
suicide, self harm, depression, trauma. So for me, I'm not going to say it's easy to talk about it, but it's in my vocabulary.
Mhm.
So I'm very comfortable, saying these things or asking these questions
Yeah.
because in my vocabulary, other people have a hard time, and I think it's hard for them. They want to not tell the family, but I'm like, it's better to say, "This is my impression. This is what I got." Somebody else might get something different, but sometimes, the family is relieved that somebody's willing to have an honest conversation, right? And I
Yeah.
never say I'm gonna find somebody for sure. I'm never gonna say, "I know this is the person that did this," right? I will say something like, my findings, maybe suggest that this might fit with this person,
Yeah.
and then you take this to law enforcement if you think this is good information that they can use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I could just think about, like, a million questions that I'd have to I feel like I I feel like every do you have friends that just message you like, "Hey, what do you think about this?"
Sometimes, like in our group, we're always
Okay.
doing that. The other day we were like, "Hey, what are you guys thinking about all the scientists who disappeared, or
Yeah.
been killed, right?"
Yeah.
And so we're all, "Let's work on that." And I know I'm making it sound like it's fun, but it's a way to
I
push
know.
our boundaries, right? Because
Mhm.
sometimes or it might be like a recent case, and we'll say, "Let's work on that," because a lot of times you'll get validation because they find the person or
Yeah.
they find the killer, like this Jody case, right? It sounds like
Yeah.
they're kinda getting close to maybe finding out more information.
Right. Right.
I think they took my feeling when I was working on it was they have DNA evidence that they're gonna be able to use. I don't
Mhm.
know if that's gonna be the person that took her, but I feel like there's untapped resources that they have, that they can now find information. But I also
Yeah.
feel like they have a lot of stuff they've been, not saying to the public.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, locally, there's a lot of people who think that the Mason City Police Department was involved in some way,
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, and then there's, theories that a local farmer had, something to do with it. It was a farm. They did some prison time, like, years after the murder for their conditions at the farm, and
Mm,
so there's a lot of different things going on, but I'm like, "Hmm, I I do hope that they're sitting on some information that they haven't released, that they just need that one thing that they're able to be
yeah.
like, "Well, we" I don't know. I just
Yeah, me too. It's a super interesting case.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if there'd be anything left to recover, even if
Yeah.
there was a confession, then I don't know. But maybe maybe we'll
Maybe.
find out someday.
Yeah, so the cases that are, close to being solved or that are how about the ones where, uh, it's like a, Jane Doe or John Doe, right? And they finally, you match a case that you know is a missing person
Mhm.
to a Jane or John Doe. Those are, um not rewarding, but that's not the right word, but, help get confirmation for what you've
Yeah.
got, so you've been working on this case just on your own, and then maybe that year later, they find that person or they find out what happened to him.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are good ways to, gauge how you're working, what you're
Right.
getting, and sometimes we get, like, super bizarre stuff, and I always just write down whatever I get.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it'll make sense. I'm like, "Oh, that's cool," that I wrote that down and it was the weird detail that, they didn't know or something.
Yeah. Yeah, are you able to explain or, give an example of something like that where you got something that was just completely out of nowhere that happened to be real
Um,
or a true
I'm
fact in this
trying yeah,
case?
I'm trying to think. I know one of the things that's, really hard sometimes is if the person's alive or passed,
Mhm.
and this is when I teach it, I always tell
Yeah.
people, if everybody in class says they're passed and you feel they're alive, raise your hand. Because I am not kidding. Sometimes it's that one person who sticks to their guns and they're right. Like,
Really?
don't change your answer because that happens a lot. Oh,
Yeah.
everybody else is getting this. Oh, that's probably what I meant. And I always say, no, stick with what you're getting because you might be the only one right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think
Yeah.
of something. I wish I had something on the top of my head that was just
Yeah.
so,
It'd be
you
so
know
hard to pick through all of that,
mm,
you know? Uh,
mhm. I know I should write it down, but I'm horrible at documenting my stuff, I guess. Keeping it listed. I remember them all, but just trying to remember a specific
Right.
thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, going back to, like, where it sound where you feel excited about, like, it's I don't think of it as you're excited that people are dead and you have a mystery to solve. I think
No.
it's a, "Hey, look, this is interesting. Looks like there's something I can do to help,"
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And that's what I always say. Some people are like, "How can you do that? That's such a, hard stuff to look at." And I always think, you know what? It's kinda like being a nurse.
Mhm.
You're helping, you're doing a job, but sometimes you have to look at really gross
Yeah.
stuff. Sometimes you have to look at stuff that makes you uncomfortable. But that's how I always like to think about it, is I'm trying to help.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a really cool way to look at it too, and I mean, it's there, it's real, that gross stuff's gonna be there whether you're looking at it or not, and
Yeah.
someone's gotta do it.
I'd rather the family can find closure or get some answers or have something. A lot of times they just want more
Yeah.
information to take to law enforcement because law enforcement's, gone through everything that they can, but, oh,
Yeah.
this new tip. And then also people say, why don't you call law enforcement? And I will say almost everybody, everybody that does gets seen as a suspect, right? I'm not so
Right.
much worried about that, but a lot of times I I will call, like, the tip line because they have to look at
Okay.
all the tips, right? So if you call in something you feel really strongly about, then do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, so if someone wants to develop their own abilities, what's the first practical exercise or
Mm.
mindset shift you recommend?
Um, I think everyone has psychic abilities. Not everybody wants to be a psychic medium, fine. But
Mhm.
it is or good intuition, right? So it's good to build
Yeah.
those skills for whatever. You're at work and you kinda get a creepy feeling about a coworker, then trust yourself, right? So you do wanna
Yeah.
practice building those skills. I for psychic investigation, I like, alive or past, trying to figure out if the person's alive or past, but you kinda have to have someone help you with that, right?
Right.
Give you, pictures and try to fill into that. But there's like really small ways you can practice your intuition and your abilities. You can take like a deck of cards and
Mhm.
start with like the first thing, okay, I want to try to figure out if it's red or green. Turn it over. Did I red or black? Sorry,
Oh, you're okay.
not green, red or black. And then
Uh-huh.
you turn it over and you kind of pay attention to how that felt, if you got it wrong or how it felt if you got it correct, and then you
Uh-huh.
kinda just go through the deck doing that, right? You're practicing um, that part of the scale, seeing how it feels, and then you can move on to, okay, now I think it's red and number 3.
Mhm.
See how good you get at that. It really is practice and just kind of figuring out um, how it feels in your body or how it
Yeah.
comes to you, how you get the information.
Yeah. Okay. I'd be so tempted to use these skills on the prediction markets.
Oh, oh, yeah, right? You should try
Yeah,
it.
I don't know. That yeah. Though I feel like you'd have to pay way more attention to certain things than
Mhm.
and it would just be so time consuming to go that route, I guess.
And it's also kind of just like being comfortable, trusting yourself, because I can't tell you how many people, even people that do what I do, are like, "Ah, I should have said that because that's what I got." You're like, you gotta
Right.
say it, you have to say it.
Yeah.
Trust yourself, and, for me, it's more of how it feels on my body, like that stomach feel
Mhm.
or, sometimes you'll get everyone gets the hair standing up on the back of their neck, but how
Yeah.
many times have you looked at somebody and been, "Oh, they look fine on the outside, but man, there's something weird about them." But you excuse it because they look like any other person, right? They're not
Right.
doing anything to make you suspicious, but deep down inside there's something different.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, or it's like, I don't their smile is perfect, but something about it makes me not trust them.
Right. Exactly.
Alright. I suppose we're running out of time. Is there anything else you'd like the audience to know?
Um, I would say if anybody would like to is interested in learning, I say just be really brave and try. It's how you get started. If this
Mhm.
seems like it's an interest to you, I mean, I teach classes, but other people do as well. Just hop online and look around and see. I always say you have to find a teacher that you feel drawn to, or it
Mhm.
doesn't work with mediumship as well. Um, yeah. So a lot of times I'll get people who cross over from true crime to doing this, right? I
Uh-huh.
get a lot of crossover from mediumship to this. So it's just kind of exploring and seeing if it's for you, uh,
Yeah.
practicing. Uh, so, I mean, you'll probably put my website on here maybe, and
Yeah.
they
I
can look
will.
at that and see, or they can always email me and I might be able to offer other suggestions that
Yeah.
fit them. Maybe they want to work in person, right? So maybe I know somebody in their state that they can work on something in person with.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and your website is, mediumkellykristen.com, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I will include that, and then, are you on, like, social media or anything
I
like that?
am. I am under my Instagram and Facebook are under Third Eye Sleuth.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, sounds good. I'll,
Yeah.
yeah, I've got, the thirdeyesleuth.com too?
Yep.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
I'll
I
post
know.
those both.
It's a whole rebranding thing, right?
Yeah. I get it.
So, yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Alright, perfect. Well, I wanna thank you for being here today. I'm glad we were able to make it work, and, yeah, this is my first interview like this, and it was fun, so I really
Oh, me
appreciate
too.
it.
Thank you,
So,
Sam. I had a
yep.
good time.